It's no surprise that the Floor 2 update in Roblox stores is generally considered to have introduced very good additions to the game, and for the most part I'd have to say that is true. However, this update introduced something which I believe needs to be desperately changed, and that is the balancing, more specifically the item balancing. You see, items are one of the fundamental features of doors, as they allow players to gain an advantage not normally achievable, whether that be to see in the dark or to regain lost health. Items by nature are meant to help the player, and given how Doors is a trial and error game, meaning progression is supposed to be very difficult, it means that items need to be balanced accordingly to where the game is still difficult even with their presence. Unfortunately, however, based on my experience with playing Floor 2, it appears that items are really unbalanced, and that is what I would like to discuss today. In this video, I'll be going over why several items and doors aren't currently balanced, as well as what can be done to improve them overall. So with all of that being said, let's begin. Alrighty, so the first item I want to discuss are glow sticks. Glow sticks are consumable light sources, meaning unlike other items in the game such as the flashlight, you can only use them for a limited amount of time. Glow sticks are exclusively found in the mines, and once obtained they can be thrown on the ground in order to light up the area they are in. Now, the concept itself of a glow stick I find to be very interesting and unique, however its execution needs to be worked on just a smidge. You see, glow sticks, at least in their current state, are extremely overpowered. Not only are they the most common item you can encounter in the mines, but a single one can also light up an entire medium-sized room. Additionally, you can carry 10 at once, and given how they are extremely common, it only takes casual looting whilst running through the various rooms to have a high amount on you at all times. Furthermore, it is also the only light source which doesn't cause gloom bats to attack you. Essentially, the point I'm trying to get here is that the glow stick's frequent spawn rate paired up with how it's a decently powerful light source, as well as its other beneficial traits, make it really overpowered, and I feel as if it should be balanced to be more in line with the other items in the game. So, how could the glow stick be improved? Well, the simple solution would be to tone down all of its overpowered characteristics. For one, they shouldn't spawn so frequently, as the ratio of available glow sticks to dark rooms in the entire run is almost always favored towards the glow sticks. Although I do think these items should be somewhat common, they shouldn't be easier to find than gold, which I will touch up on a little later. Additionally, I feel as if they should be made a little weaker in terms of light emission, as right now they appear to emit more light than even a flashlight, which is pretty bizarre. Lastly, I think the maximum amount a player should be able to hold should be 5, so that way they can't be stockpiled. Something you'll notice throughout this video is that for most of the items I discussed, the best way to improve them is either by nerfing or buffing their already existing traits, and this also applies to the glow stick. Moving on, the next item I feel should be balanced more is gold. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm perfectly fine with gold's functionality as it is. However, there's one really big issue I have with how this item appears in the mines. As I stated before, based on my experience, it appears that glow sticks are actually more common to encounter in Floor 2 than gold. And it feels that the spawn rate of gold has been severely reduced from how it was in the hotel. In fact, I think only once or twice out of several runs I was able to purchase anything from Jeff's shop in Floor 2, simply due to me not having collected enough gold, which wasn't really an issue in Floor 1, as I could have been able to collect enough gold through casually picking it up whilst playing to afford at least one thing from Jeff's shop. Essentially, the frequency of gold spawns in the mines appeared to be too low for the item to be of any use. So, as a very easy solution to this problem, I think gold should be a tad bit more common to encounter. It's really as simple as that to make this item more versatile in Floor 2. Next, I want to discuss the bulk light. The bulk light is a new flashlight variation that was introduced in the Floor 2 update, and it by far is the most powerful light source in the game. This excessive power is also the reason why it's in this video, as it is quite unbalanced. Just for some context, the bulk light not only lights up a giant area when activated, but it also has the same battery life as a normal flashlight. Additionally, it is way more common to find than a normal flashlight, as it appears in a majority of vine-covered chests. In fact, the normal flashlight is so rare in the mines that I've only found it once. I've even found more crucifixes than it in Floor 2. Now, something you have to know about item progression in any game is that there are two types of it. The first type is that two distinct items are regarded as being of the same value, and that is because their functionalities have trade-offs. A good example of this would be the strap light and the flashlight. The strap light has a somewhat weaker light output than the flashlight. However, the trade-off is that it is a little more common to find than the normal flashlight, and that it obviously can be worn on the player, whereas the flashlight cannot. In this sense, it can be regarded that the flashlight and strap light are of the same value. The second type of item progression is if one item is just inherently better than the other, but the trade-off is that it's more hard to obtain. A good example of this would be the flashlight and the lighter, as the flashlight is better than the lighter in almost every way, but it's rarer to encounter. Now, the issue with the bulk light is that it appears to use the second type of item progression, where it is just inherently better than its predecessor, that being the flashlight. However, as I stated previously, this item is way more common to find than a flashlight. This means that in most cases, using a flashlight is completely useless in the mines, as it is weaker and more rare than the bulk light. So to fix this, I think the bulk light should be made way less common to encounter, and the flashlight should be made about as common as the strap light. This way, the item progression remains intact, and both items are more balanced. Alrighty, so that was it for items which could be improved simply by just changing statistics about them. But now I'm going to discuss items which need functionality changes in order to be more balanced, starting with the candle. Now, something which you may have noticed is that the candle was reworked in the Floor 2 update. Now the item needs to be relit whenever it is unequipped. This can be done by using a lighter on it or by relighting it by using an environmental fire, such as a fireplace in the hotel. Additionally, the normal candle no longer detects oncoming entities, as this functionality was replaced with the possessed candle. Now, if I'm being honest, I'm not really a fan of these candle nerfs. The fact that you need to constantly relight it every time you unequip it is just annoying, and the entity detection ability was really the only thing going for it, so with that feature's removal, the candle is just kinda pointless now. So, what can be done to improve this item? Well, the first iteration of the candle was a little overpowered, I must admit, as it effectively made the greenhouse way less challenging due to its entity detection ability. However, the nerfed version of the item is now really underpowered, just being annoying to use. So, I think features of both versions of the candle should be implemented to make the item as balanced as possible. What I was thinking is that instead of the candle going out every time it was unequipped, it should only go out when it detects an entity, which is how it functioned previously, but now it affects gameplay instead of being just visual. This not only makes the candle less of a nuisance to use, but it doesn't require to be relit constantly, but it also keeps that entity detection ability which made it so good in the first place, albeit it is nerfed as after each detection the item must be relit. Additionally, this also retains the utility of the possessed candle, as it uses that second variation of item progression I discussed earlier, where the possessed candle is just inherently better than the normal one in every way. I feel as if making these changes to the candle would be the best solution for everyone. Lastly, the final item I want to discuss in this video is the clock. The clock is a new item which is guaranteed to spawn in room 49 and room 50 in the hotel, and it only has one purpose, that being to temporarily distract Figure. Now, my only issue with this new item is that it really isn't that versatile. I mean, it is good against Figure, but I feel as if the item should be given more functionality outside of that to make it more useful. So in order to improve this item, I think it should also be made to distract Grumbles in addition to being able to distract Figure. This way, the item gets a little more versatility in the mines, as Grumbles are probably one of the biggest threats which can be encountered in Floor 2, so having a way to combat them with this item would be great. Anyways, those were all of my item balancing suggestions for Roblox doors. Let me know in the comments what you think of these ideas, and with all of that being said, thank you all for watching and I hope you enjoyed.